Generation 9 introduced a new kind of Pokemon called the Paradox Pokemon. For anyone that doesn't know, Paradox Pokemon are an odd bunch of Pokemon that share a resemblance with modern Pokemon, but are actually from the prehistoric past or far-flung future. Paradox Pokemon from Scarlet have primal and vaguely dinosaur-like traits, while Paradox Pokemon from Violet have futuristic robotic bodies. As of the making of this video, we do not know if these Paradox Pokemon are naturally occurring Pokemon, commonly found in their respective eras, or were somehow artificially manifested within Paldea's Area Zero. The other odd trait that a majority of the Paradox Pokemon share is their naming convention. Most Pokemon have a sort of elaborate pun or play on words that make reference to their characteristics or their cultural inspirations. The Paradox Pokemon have names that are rather literal and blunt with their descriptions, such as Paradox Jigglypuff being called Screamtail, or the future Hariyama being called Iron Hands. With this idea, I asked myself, what if the Paradox Pokemon had more traditional Pokemon names? I'll first go over the ancient Pokemon found in Scarlet version, and then move on to the future Paradox Pokemon in another video. To begin, here is Great Tusk, a Pokemon believed to be the ancient ancestor to Donphan. If it were up to me, I would call it Mastodonphan, referencing the Mastodon, a distant ancient relative to elephants, and the word Master, since Great Tusk is the wise ancient master who is significantly stronger than the modern day Donphan. Next up is the alleged Jigglypuff ancestor from 1 billion years ago, Screamtail. I dubbed thee Shrieklypuff, since this is the ancient savage Jigglypuff that isn't so kind and jiggly. It lets loose a primal and deranged shriek, thus becoming Shrieklypuff. This name also just barely fits within the 12-character limit for names. Here lies Brute Bonnet, what might be the ancient Amoonguss with dinosaur traits. With the power invested in me, I call it Terrutsa. The name stems from the words terror to explain the horrific dark typing and aggressive demeanor, Terra, as mushrooms grow underground, Terra, which is simply Scarlet and Violet's main generational gimmick, and when putting the names of Terrutsa together with the Fungus line, you get the phrase Terrutsa Fungus Amoonguss. Being honest here, I came up with a joke first and then reverse engineered the names from there. Also, side mention, Brute Bonnet has an upper torso, 4 legs, and a tail. Brute Bonnet is technically the first centaur Pokemon. The next Paradox Pokemon is the supposed ancient mischievous Flutter Mane. This competitive menace was believed to be some sort of pterosaur according to the Pokedex. I don't see a strong resemblance, but I instead see a potential name that would suit his characteristics much better. Miss Mania. Miss Mania keeps the Miss part from Miss Previous and Miss Magius, while also making reference to the main body that its body is composed of. The Mania part of the name is in reference to the disruption to competitive Pokemon. And the name as a whole loosely sounds like the word miasma, just like the floating menace to society, as it is. This is the ancient vestige to Volcarona, Slither Wing. I call this fine creature Sulcrolona. The soul part is in reference to the sun. While Slither Wing isn't a fire type, it still has the 6 wings just like Volcarona that it can fan out, resembling the sun. The crawl part is thanks to the way Slither Wing moves, by crawling around like a titan caterpillar. Slither Wing technically slithers, but the name Sulcrolona sounds as though it were a clunky proto-name for the ancient Volcarona, and so I thought it would fit better. Admittingly, the name can be a bit troublesome to pronounce, so if you can think of a better name, I would actually like to hear your ideas in the comments. We move on to the next Paradox Pokemon, Sandy Shocks, an ancient ancestor to Magneton. This is a small side tangent, not in the script, but I'm wondering if Sandy Shocks is actually an ancient ancestor to the Magnemite line, or if a space-time distortion accidentally sent a couple of Magnemite and Magneton way too far in the past, and over the course of 10,000 years, they eventually became Sandy Shocks. Though regardless of its origins, I think a new name for it could be Magnavile. The Magnate prefix fixed the pattern set by the rest of the Magnemite line that they all share. The Vile part is actually a pun on the word file, thanks to the iron filings that are found on its body, and the actual word vile, due to its barbaric looks and primal nature. I get this mainly from the way it walks. Look at them. Why are the magnet legs so stretchy? The final Paradox Pokemon from Scarlet is the ancient form of Mega Salamence, Roaring Moon. This entry was a bit more difficult than the others, not coming up with the names. The problem is that I had too many and I couldn't decide which one to use. The final ideas were narrowed down to Salanance, Salinar, and Salnarl. They are rather close sounding thanks to all being derived from Salamence with a few changes to the endings. Salanance is essentially the original name with the word Luna stuffed in the middle. Salinar includes the word lunar and is more prevalent to make reference to the moon shape its wings make. And Salunarl is the same thing but adding gnarl to the end. I do like all of these names, but I can't really decide which is best. Leave a comment which name you like most. And so these are all the names I made for the Scarlet Paradox Pokemon. As a final curtain call, here are Mastodon Fan, Shrieklypuff, Terutza, Miss Mania, Solcrolona, Magnavile, and all of the names I made for Roaring Moon. Which of these are your favorite? If you have other name ideas, comment them down below. Leave a like if you want to see me go over the Violet and DLC Paradox Pokemon, and then subscribe so you know when those videos are out. Thanks for the watch, so have a nice one, and until we see each other again.